Okay, today we're going to learn the procedure of antibiotic sensitivity testing. The method we are using is the Kirby Bauer method. I've put the procedure online and it goes into some detail, and there's an illustration, but we'll go through it step by step. First of all, you will need, or you would be using if you were in lab anyway, 4 different cultures of bacteria. Okay, Staph aureus, E. coli, Serratia marcescens, and Staphylococcus epidermidis. Okay, and 5 different antibiotics. Okay, so in this particular case, we've got, writing is very small, tetracycline, erythromycin, ampicillin, bacitracin, and kanamycin. Okay. So each of these cartridges, they're called cartridges, they just have these little filter discs in them, which I'll push one out here, that have been impregnated with that antibiotic. Okay, so it's a little filter disc that has this antibiotic on it. Okay, it's been soaked in it. It's also already got the designation as to what it is. This is kanamycin, so it says K, and it also says the concentration 30. So that will tell you what the concentration is and what the antibiotic is. You do not have to label them then. So it's very nice. Okay? So we have the cartridges with those discs in it. We also have 4 Mueller-Hinton plates. Okay, Mueller-Hinton is a specialized auger that is used for this particular test. It allows the antibiotic to filter out from that disc at a certain rate so that everything is equal and you get nice zones for the most part. Okay, so Mueller-Hinton auger. So I'm going to go through how you would do one of them, and you would do that for all 4 bacteria. Okay, so we'll go through one. Put that aside. You need to light your Bunsen burner. And I apologize if I lose my voice. I was just doing your video for enumeration and kind of talked out now, but we'll get through this, okay? Okay, so back to our Kirby Bauer method. So we need a Mueller-Hinton plate, and let's say we're going to do the first one that is Staph aureus. Okay, so remember, you always label the plates on the bottom. You're going to put the bacteria that you're putting on the plate, very important. Okay, and your initials or something like that, date, designation, whatever you want to put on there. But most importantly, you need to know what's on the plate. So there's Staph aureus going on this plate. Okay, so we pick up our sterile swab, and just like a Band-Aid, peel it down. Okay, grab the stick end. Okay, if you open the wrong end and grab the swab, gotta get a new swab because that's not sterile anymore, right? We all know this. Okay, so pull out the swab, it's sterile. You're going to pick up your tube of Staph aureus. Remember, remove the lid, clean the top, take your sterile swab, go in and soak it real good. Press on the inside edge just so you don't drip it all over when you come out, okay? And then flame the top. Remember, using aseptic technique. Put your tube down. Now you're going to create a lawn of bacteria, which you have done before. Okay, so you know how to do this already. But remember, lid down, pick up the plate, and go back and forth. Turn it a little bit back and forth. What you want to do is cover the whole surface of the auger without digging in. Go all the way around the rim, because you want to cover it all. You want a nice lawn. You don't want a lawn that somebody mowed that was drunk, okay? You want a really nice lawn. Okay, so we've created our lawn of bacteria. Okay, remember, this is contaminated, so dispose of it in the appropriate place. Okay, so you will let that set for just a minute or 2, just so that that bacteria soaks into the auger. Okay, so in the meantime, we have started our Bunsen burner. We have a canister of alcohol. Okay, do not get the flame and the alcohol close together. We know what happens. It's not good. Okay, and you have a pair of forceps. So these cartridges in your handout, I think it shows this little handle on this specialized one. We don't have those. Okay? So we use tweezers, forceps to get the discs out. Okay, so what you're going to have to do for each of the discs when we get ready to do it is push on one side of the disc to be able to grab the other side. Okay, but before you do that, you have to sterilize these forceps. So this is dry now. Okay, now you want to leave this lid off as little as possible because you obviously don't want to contaminate your lawn of bacteria with bacteria floating around up here. And we're using it lid side up. Okay, so there's a very good chance of that. So first of all, sterilize your forceps by putting them in the alcohol. This is important. You put it in the alcohol first, then the flame. Okay, they will flame, but it won't burn your fingers unless you stuck your fingers in the alcohol. Okay, it will sterilize the end of the forceps though very nicely. Okay, so then you pick up one of the antibiotics. You push the little disc from one side, just so that it's overhanging a little bit on the other, so you can grab it. Okay, and then you carefully place that disc on the auger and just press a little tiny bit just so it sticks to the auger. Don't plant it in the auger. Okay, now remember, these have probably touched that bacteria, so alcohol, flame. Okay, so these are sterile again. So then you can go on, I should leave that out so you know you did that one. Okay, it is, like I told you in the beginning, there is an E on that, so that tells me I already did erythromycin. So I have now picked up kanamycin. I'm going to sterilize this again because I've been standing here. Sterilize them. Okay, so then I will push the disc out. Ooh, that one went too far. Don't have to worry about it because it's the antibiotic. Okay, so you have your disc. Go ahead and put it on the auger and press it in. Okay, remember this has bacteria on it, so alcohol and sterilize it. And then we go on to the next, which is bacitracin. Push it out a little bit. Put it aside. Place that one on the auger. Press it down a little. Sterilize your forceps. And then we get another one. This one is ampicillin. Push it out. Cooperative. Okay, and then you're going to put that one on the surface of the auger. Remember to sterilize your forceps. And then last, we have tetracycline. Okay, we're going to put that one right in the middle. Sit down. Okay, remember to sterilize these. Okay, since you can't see the surface of the auger, you're going to be able to see how I've got them arranged. Okay, so that they're far enough from each other and far enough from the edge of the plate that if they form a zone of inhibition, okay, if the antibiotic works, it will not allow the bacteria to grow too close to that disc. Okay, it's keeping the bacteria away. You want to be able to see that zone of inhibition clearly. So you must keep the discs apart from each other and apart from the side of the plate. They do show you what an example might look like. You'll see there's different zones of inhibition. And if the discs had been next to each other, you would be able to determine the diameter of that zone of inhibition very easily. So when you put them on the surface of your auger, you're doing just 5 antibiotics. Okay, that example that they have has more than 5. Okay, but we're doing 5 because that's better. That's way too many. Of course, that's just mine. All right, so the way we're placing the 5 on here is like a 5 dice. Okay, if you've ever played with dice, the number 5. So you want one right in the middle. And then place them far enough away from the middle, but not too close to the edge. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. That way, after incubation, Okay, you're not going to see it now because that lawn of bacteria has to grow up. After incubation, if there's a zone of inhibition, okay, you will be able to see it clearly. Okay, some may have a smaller one, some may have none. Okay, there'll be 0. Okay, but for instance, if you would have put the discs really close to each other, and this zone ran into that one, it can be hard to tell. So you want to space them away from each other and away from the edge so that you can clearly see any zone of inhibition that may form. Okay, so we did this with Staph aureus. You're going to continue or repeat this procedure to do the other 3 bacteria. After they're done, you can flip them over. They should stick to the ivory, the little discs, and then incubate them. And then the results are given in a separate handout so that you can read the results by measuring. You'll be measuring the zone of inhibition. Okay? In millimeters. Remember, this is a science class. It's in millimeters and it's not in centimeters. Because when you go to rate it according to the table that is in the results section, you have to have millimeters. So you're measuring the diameter. That includes the disc in the middle, the diameter, in millimeters. Okay? If, for some reason, you can only count one side because the other side ran into either another zone of inhibition or the side, you can count or measure the radius and multiply it by 2. Okay? Because that will equal the diameter. So that goes over the Kirby Bauer method, and the results section is also listed in a separate handout to allow you to come up with interpretation.